part 2 of the Hatchet, I guess, restoration. I'm just putting a handle on it pretty much, but welcome back to the second part of that series. In this part, we're going to wrap it up by just putting a nice edge on this hatchet, and we will be good to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is, where I want this edge, I'm going to fill it in with a Sharpie, so that as I remove the material, I know exactly where I'm removing it from, and I can go off of that to kind of shape that edge to where I want it to be. So take that Sharpie and I'll fill it in right now where I want this edge. I don't want it very far into the back of the axe or the hatchet. So just like that, and as I remove it with the file, the Mill Bastard file, I will see that Sharpie line go away. So just do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to use my vise. I'm going to get something so I don't mar up the handle whatsoever, and vise it in here, and then I'll start showing you guys the method I use to put an edge on a hatchet or some tool that has been abused or just sat around for however long. So stick with me, guys. Thing clamped into my vise, and I'll put 2 pieces of wood on either side of the jaws so that it doesn't mar up my handle that I put on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that Sharpie line and take my file, and remember, files only remove material in one direction, so don't go back and forth or you're doing yourself no good. And just look where it's removing it. And that sun's kind of blinding me, but just kind of eyeball it and see where it's removing that material. And once you get that removed, you're going to get a nice line, and then you're going to get the feel for it to know exactly how you want this thing. So I like going straight up and kind of across the edge is what I like to do. Vices make it so much easier because you're not trying to hold it and do it and maintain a certain angle. So it's a lot easier that way. So just keep that motion, and I'm going to keep doing this until I feel a burr on the other side. Then I'll flip it over and do the same thing to the opposing side. Don't want to bore you guys, so I'll go ahead and cut it, and then I'll bring you back once I get that part of the sharpening complete. I've been sharpening my hatchet. Here is going to be some stones. I've let them soak in water for approximately 5 minutes, and that should be enough. I'm going to start with this Harbor Freight one that I bought very cheap, or actually Menards, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. But once you get that edge where you want it and you've got the burrs gone, you just take these stones, starting from the coarsest out of the stones, going to the finest. You just want to tilt it until you're on the edge, and just rotate it. You can do it in a circular fashion, or you can just go straight across, however you want. It's all up to you. Flip it over and repeat this process until you get a decent edge on there. Hey folks, this is Abrahm with Pathfinder TV, instructor of Pathfinder School. I started part 2 of the hatchet, hanging, hafting, and sharpening, that type of series here. I started it and I forgot to finish the sharpening part because I got sidetracked with a couple of things, but I'm back at it. The next thing after I used the stones and then the file, I showed you guys that on the last part, we're going to imply the Rooster Scary Sharp method. I believe he came up with it. He's the guy that's in charge of Axe Junkies Facebook page. It's a really good group on Facebook. If you guys are into axes, there's all kinds of cool stuff in that group. I definitely recommend to check it out. But that's where I got this method from, Rooster. So thanks a lot, man. It's a really good method and very easy to use. So basically what you're using with this method is some sort, this is a drywall sanding pad, that's a hand sander, that's what this is. It's got 2 wing nuts on each side that I can clamp some sandpaper into different grits with some foam right here, so that foam really forms to the edge with slight pressure, and it really works out very well. And a whole bunch of different grits of sandpaper. This is going to sharpen it as well as putting a nice polish on your edge. So I've got 220, 400, 600, or 400, 800, 1200, 1500, 2000. Then I'll hit it with a strop and it should be very good to go. So I'm going to put this in here real quick, tighten it up. Once you get that down, what you're going to do is just like a strop. You don't want it, you want to hold the edge and you want to push away from your edge. You can't push towards it or it's going to cut into it. The sandpaper, the grit on the sandpaper will tear up your edge. So just hold it and kind of, I like going push and go at a diagonal and across the edge. You don't have to go fast. You just want to do this, kind of keep track of how many strokes you do on each side so it can be even. You don't have like a weird edge because you didn't do the same amount. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to go up in the grits. Obviously, the lower the grit, the more coarse it is. So I'll go up to the 2000. Flip it over and do the same process here. Very simple and very easy. While I have you guys on the camera, I want to just give a quick shout out to a fellow instructor. I'm Jason Hunt at the Pathfinder School. I just got a package in the mail from him. He gave me a whole bunch of really good white-tailed deer antler. So thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. It's going to be put to good use. Probably another bow drill bearing block. So I really do appreciate it, Jason. Thanks a lot, man. Going to be put to good use. So I'm just going to do this process and obviously go up in the grits and the sandpaper, and I will get back with you guys. Once you finish up with the 6,000, not 6,000, excuse me, but the 2,000 grit sandpaper, I've got a 6,000 grit, or 6,000 water stone, that's why I got it mixed up. But once you finish up with the 2,000 grit sandpaper, you should get pretty much close to a mirror polish on that edge. And this is definitely shaving sharp. I'll do the fingernail test. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but if you can put it on there and slide it across and it takes nail off, which it is, without applying pressure, just let it slide across. See if I can get it closer. You can probably see it on the edge right now, but it's taking it off for sure. And you can see it on the tip of my finger there. It's gone. But that's definitely sharp. And whoever gets this is definitely going to like it. I believe they will. You know, I may do a video on making a leather sheath for this. I may or may not, just depends. But either way, I will be back with another video next week. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.